Welcome back to Review Your City with me, Biffa. This is the city of Minneapolis, sent in by Mr. Plouffe, and we are going to look at this city. We're going to see what's good, maybe a few bad things, and what you can learn for using in your cities as well. You sent this city in, I'm assuming it was for a review because the traffic was pretty good, so I didn't think it was for a traffic fix. But we're going to go through the criteria that we've set out in our previous video and see what we think. Now, the first one was realism. How realistic does this city look? And just looking at it, you know, just from a point of view like this, from a long way away, overall, I would say pretty realistic. I like the way it's all spread out. It's quite grid-like, but then there's nothing wrong with that. There's plenty of gridded cities, but then you've gone for some nice roundabouts as well. We'll come back to the roundabouts. Really pleased with those. Haha, yes, love a good roundabout in a city. But overall, I would say it rates pretty high on the realism. Over here, you've got a nice university campus that's been set up. I like the way you've built this. I think that looks quite cool. You've got all the housing down at this area over here, and you've got all the areas where they can go and get schooled, get taught all the stuff down here, which is looking very cool. There are some things, though, that jump out as maybe not so realistic. You might be spotting those straight away. Big motorway junctions here, right in the middle of the water. Yeah, I don't think you see too many of those around like that. That sort of cries out to me. Breaks the realism just a little bit. Some of your choices with the way you've built your roads as well. Yeah, this little road across here, this little wiggly road. I know why you've done it, and it's good because you do have a road for traffic to get from one side to the other without going through the junction. That is always something that I say you need to do rather than everybody using the main highway. But some of your road choices, a little bit hawky-balky maybe. And this sort of area here with your railway lines. Yeah, you've got railway lines that just die in the middle of nowhere, junctions that aren't quite lined up. So when you get a bit close, the realism factor does tend to disappear. I'm wondering whether you had... do you know what I think you've got in here that's disappeared? I think there's an asset. There were like 5 or 6 assets that wouldn't load, that are not on the Steam Workshop anymore. I think that is what's missing from there. And here as well, that looks like. So we won't mark you down for that. But, I mean, overall, from a distance, quite realistic. I would say that is just my opinion anyway. But I do like your city. I mean, the next thing we're going to look at is the mass transit. So I think with the trains, we're maybe going to have a little bit of a problem, like we said. You've got some assets that have disappeared. You've got lots of... Over here as well, you've got this is here, but you haven't got it hooked up. You want to hook these things up, get them working for you. So, no buses. Wah, wah. Tram lines. No trams. Wah, wah. Metro lines. Yes. Lots of metro lines. We'll come back to those. Train lines. Well, you don't have any set up anyway. So even if those assets were there, it would still show the lines, but it would show them as being broken. So... with a city, I would just say, with a city that's this big and this spread out, you could certainly have a train line coming from some of your far-flung places like this into a hub in the middle where you could get everybody to switch over maybe to metros or to the airport or those sort of things. So in a city that's spread out like this, which is where the realism factor comes in, certainly a train line, even if it just ran around the outside or... I mean, you've got this line coming in here. I'm assuming, yeah, it's just looking like you've got cargo trains. Let's just have a quick look down your train line. Do we have any passenger trains coming in? I don't think you do. So you're missing out on a load of tourists and that sort of thing. So, yeah. So, anyway, train lines, let's have a look. Ferry lines, no. Which is odd because you've got... all these ships, you've got all this water here, And you've got cruise ships. So you've got cruise ships coming in, which is good. You've obviously got a harbour set up somewhere. I'm not entirely sure where that is. Found it. Here's the harbour. You've got a harbour tucked in over here. Let's just see if there is another one anywhere. So they're coloured yellow. I think that is it. That is the only harbour that you have. You do have some ferry lines that you've put in here. Oh, you sort of stopped them halfway. Yeah, you really want to be using ferries. I mean, that'd be a fantastic way on here to have them crossing from one side to the other, which would again help with any traffic problems that may come up in the future. And perhaps another harbour as well. Yeah, you've just got this one harbour over here. I mean, you could add in another one, get to some of your tourists coming to other parts of your city. But what I do like here, you've got the option for the metro, which as we saw was very well used by people. So these are deciding to drive into the city. But if they wanted to, they could walk over here and, you've got your paths set up there, which is good. So they could walk and use your metro. And you can see the tourists coming in. There we go. Excellent. So there we go. And there's a tourist coming in there with a little camper van, caravan thing. Yeah, so very good. Let's check what else you've got. Let's go through the list. So we're up to here. Do you have any blimps? One blimp line. So we can see that going across. So that comes from up here at Coleridge Heights. Oh, it sort of goes around in a big loop around your city. Up over here, up over there. So blimp lines, I mean, I wouldn't normally have too many blimp lines in my city. Just one or two, just to give the look of the blimps flying over. I think that's quite nice. So yeah, I can see why you've done it that way. And then finally, monorail lines. Nope, none of those. Okay, so let's go back to your metro. Now you've got metro lines well up into almost 1,000, certainly hundreds per one. And looking at the amount of vehicles as well, that's nice and low. Sometimes they get a bit high for the amount of people that are on them. That is not bad at all. And if we just take a quick look at, let's look at your busiest one. So this is obviously going to university. If we have a look here, there we go. So we get a little bit of information here, which is worth keeping in mind. You want to make sure there's not too many people stood around waiting at stops. So for instance here, you've got 145 people. There's not much space left on this one. Let's just speed it up. It's almost, actually, it managed to fit. Oh, I suppose a load of people got off and then a load of people got on. So, yeah, that is balanced quite well. That is balanced quite well. So, everybody's being picked up. Let's quickly look at the next busiest one down. So, that had 4 vehicles that was managing it. This has got 6 vehicles. I'm assuming that's going to be pretty much okay. Although you've got a lot of people waiting over here. 800 odds. I mean, these empty trains are coming through here. That is a lot of people. Yeah, look, you can see them all down there. The pink, that's the line colour. It colours the people that 1,000. So I would even add on here another couple of trains just to keep these guys moving. So if you up that to... Yeah, I've added that up to 10. I mean, you could even go higher. But basically, you want to make sure that there's hardly any people waiting at the lines, that these are going to get picked up. A couple of trains go past. That'll get down to 0. Because there is a wait counter on how long people will wait at a stop, whether it's for a train, a bus, a blimp, whatever, before they give up and do something else. It's quite high, but obviously you want to get people moving around as much as possible. So I would suggest perhaps going through all your different lines and just making sure you've got enough trains to cover. Again, the inverse is true. Something like this, where you've got not many people using it. You've probably got trains that are really empty. You don't need so many on there. So, for instance, you could probably knock this down to just 2 vehicles, and that would easily keep up with what you've got. So, that's something you can do yourself. But as for your coverage of your metro, you've got a nice loop there. Let's have a look. You've got, yeah, clockwise and anti-clockwise loops going on. Let's have a look over here. You've got another one going around this way. Again, clockwise and anti-clockwise. You've got this big loop, which goes from your airport, stops off at another airport, comes to your train hub, and then over here. And unfortunately, as we said, you've got no... your multi-platform end station has been turned off. So even if I did have the assets loaded that were missing from your train station, this isn't set up and turned on. So it's good that you've got it coming here, but you really want lots of lines going to different parts of your city, just the furthest parts of your city, really, because you've got Metro doing a lot of the hard work. You've got another loop here, another loop there. You've got stops that are close to each other. So we've spoken about that before, so people can move. Look at that. Perfect example. People moving from one loop to another. That is just great. That's what you want people to do so they can get around your city nice and easily and quickly. So, yeah, not bad on the old metro. You've got a little stop coming up here. You've got some loops over there. Yeah, not bad at all. Not bad at all. So, for mass transit, I would certainly give you a nice thumbs up of that. Certainly 5 sips of tea out of 5, I would say, because you've got everywhere covered nicely. So let's take a look at the overall traffic of your city. How many red lines are there? Well, let's just sort of take it an area at a time. Nice and clean there. Lots of red going through the middle, but don't forget, we've said before, that just means it's busy. It's busy. Doesn't necessarily mean there's loads of traffic. I mean, it's backing up a little bit there, but the rest of these red lines are just busy. This is backing up a little bit there. Let's just check whether you've got your roundabout set up correctly. You did have despawning turned off when you gave me the game, so I've left it like that. You've got your roundabout set up correctly, so that's just busy, I think, people coming down there, so that's fine. Let's continue on. We're at 84%, so that is pretty good. That is pretty good traffic for a city this size. I mean, even with despawning turned off, even with despawning turned on, so if there's too many cars, they'll despawn. I've seen worse traffic than that, believe me, in some of the cities I've seen. Again, this is pretty red, but it's okay. It's moving all right. Yeah, you've done the lane mathematics. 3 lane -1 down to 2, which is really good. You haven't done your merging here. Yeah, but that's probably because with despawning off, your traffic's never going to get horrendous. So whereas I would certainly say do this to keep things moving smoothly, I don't think... If you turn despawning off, things like that is where you would start getting problems. You've done it where they come on this side, but not that side. Look, you can see them merging nicely. Yeah, and some of your lanes there, I mean, that would... Back to 3 lanes, down to 2. Yeah, I would certainly set just that lane for going off. But like I said, your traffic's not a problem, so things like that aren't too bad. Let's see. Let's have a quick look around. Again, junctions like this, just red. Not just busy, I mean, just busy. Not bad traffic. Over here, you've got a lot of traffic coming out. Well, this is an industry area. Also, this is such a busy road down here. This is like they're treating this as a main road. I would certainly upgrade this road to the 4-lane road. There we go. Oh, you've got it going one way. You could have the 4-lane one way. I don't see why not. It's a lot of trucks. It's a lot of cars, but... There we go. Keep things moving, and you could do it that way as well. You could just even do it 2-lane one way, to be honest. But something like that, it would mean you've got lanes in the middle for keeping things moving, lanes around the outside if they want to stop. Look, already the cars are moving much quicker. Let's just see what's going on here. What is this guy doing? He wants to change lanes. You don't need to do that. The whole thing's... Okay, look, we've got plenty of lanes here. And I would just do a little bit of lane management right here. I would say you to there. I'm ending up fixing your traffic. You can go around there and you can go straight on over there. There we go. No one's going to get in each other's way. Look at that. And everybody keeps moving. Yeah, unfortunately, is when you get people stopping like that. Never like industry right by junctions, but that's not that often. Look, that's cleared all that up nicely. Yeah, this is probably your busiest segment coming through here. I mean, you do have junctions quite close to each other, which is causing this hawky-balky lane switching, and I would sort of maybe spread things out a bit. You could even perhaps take these lane connectors off here, because they can join here and join here. Just spread things out a bit, and it will stop this sort of traffic slowing down. But apart from that, I mean, your traffic's okay. I think if you turn despawning off, you would get a lot of problems. But overall, I would say that is not too bad at all. So let us check out the overall happiness of the city. And as we said in our last review, the happiness factor in the game takes into consideration all the services, the land value, whether they've got jobs, transit, all this sort of thing. The game takes it all into consideration and sees whether your citizens are happy living in your city. We've got this little happiness thing down here. If we hover over that, the global happiness is pretty high. Well, let us take a look at the citizen happiness breakdown. Not bad at all. Residential happiness, 87%. I've seen higher. Commercial happiness is quite low, so maybe you could work on these two things here. I mean, the overall happiness that you're getting is pretty good, but you could possibly go through some of your residential and commercial areas and just see what they need. A good mod that can help with that is the Show It mod. This mod can show you what each person is missing, what they're not quite happy with. There we go. It says Firewatch coverage. Oh yeah, that's the icon is below. Yeah, so Firewatch coverage. There isn't much here. Fire safety is quite low, so maybe that is something you could work on in that area, and that would increase the happiness. But generally speaking, it's not too bad for a city of this size. But yeah, there's some things you could work on there. So last of all, we want to check out how many roundabouts you have in your city, because I love a good roundabout. And just taking a look at this area here, you do have quite a few roundabouts dotted around. Now, you can put roundabouts in for no reason at all, or you can put them in to help with the traffic. And you seem to have roundabouts in for helping with the traffic, and you've dealt with them really well. Let's just close in on this little section here. So you've got your roundabout set in. You're using a 3-lane highway with the sound barrier, which is good. You've got all your paths going over the top so people can still walk around them, which is very good. Same for this one here. Some nice long paths going from one side to the other. That is always good. Your junctions off the highway, you're using roundabouts. You're even setting up areas with roundabouts in the middle, which I really like. That is nice. Let's just take a look. One thing you haven't done, but then I don't do this, it's only, you don't always have to do it, but you have your roads coming straight in. Sometimes, for instance, here with the 4 lanes, you could split that off with a 2-lane, one way going that way, joining the 4 lane, and then a 2-lane, one way going that way coming out, just to keep traffic moving quicker. But as we said, you've got traffic despawning on. Your traffic isn't bad at all, so it's not doing too bad. But those sort of things might be something to keep in mind if you ever turn the despawning off, like we mentioned before, with the roads layout and junctions being close to each other and that sort of thing. You've got some hawky-balky abouts. I like this one here. Look at this shape. That is a cool shaped roundabout. You've got some oblong abouts. you've got some very interesting roundabouts. Junctions too close to each other here. This has got a bit awry. This junction, you've got some nice connection rows going underneath, which is good. But yeah, this is all a bit too close. I would probably rip all of that out and put a nice roundabout junction in there. But anyway, roundabout, I would certainly give you a nice high score for that. Look at this, loads of roundabouts everywhere. Nice footpaths over the top. Yeah, very good, very good. And as you know, roundabouts keep things moving, which is what you want in your city. Oh, I like this roundabout here, with the water in the middle and the little thing. Very nice. I mean, there is one thing missing, I would say, with all the roundabouts you've got, is decorations in the middle. If you look on the Steam Workshop, there are quite a few. If you just literally search for roundabouts, there's some props that you can just place in the middle, which look really nice, but you can also use the prop tool to put, flowers and things in the middle, just to make them look nice. Maybe even a few trees, something like that, really brightens things up. But yeah, so maybe that's something you could do, and that could help increase the happiness, the land value, and all that sort of thing. But in water, because let me show you the land value in the game. This is a good tip. So land value by water is always higher. Look, so over here, really nice high land value. It's not just water, but if it's alongside water, it's got a higher value. So you've got water in the middle here. It increases the land value all around it. Why don't you go through your roundabouts and put water in the middle, and that will increase the land value. It might help increase the happiness as well. So just a little tip there, maybe something. There we go. Look, you've got water in this one over here, and the land value is really high around it, nice and green. So a little tip there for your roundabouts. Also, finally, just wanted to mention your city is growing really well. You've got plus in the weekly change, your citizens moving in, you're making a ton of money, which is really good. And it's not all from really high taxes. You've got 10%, 9%, so that is not bad at all. Your industries is making you a nice profit, which is good. We know that does fluctuate, but overall you're making a decent amount of money. Your public transportation, it's very hard to get that to make you any money. I very rarely see anybody using that to make money, so I'm not too worried about that. But overall, let's have a look actually from your monthly spend by tourists. You've got loads of tourists coming in, so that is where you're making up the deficit, because basically your industry is more or less paying for your public transportation, but the money you're making is all your tourists and things, you know, just rounding things up and down. So that is not bad at all. You've certainly got room to grow. You've got plenty of space in your city, and hopefully a few tips to help you along the way as you grow and expand your city. So what do you think? Was there any parts of that city review you agree with or disagree with? Let me know in the comments below. If you would like to send me your city to either have its traffic fixed or to be reviewed, choose one or the other please, then send me the link to your city, your save game on the Steam Workshop as well. Don't forget to leave a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you're new to my channel. Thank you very much for joining me, and I will see you very soon for the next video. Take care everybody. Bye bye.